Two numbers, one decision. Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. On one side of that decision sits $100 silver, the level that First Majestic Silver CEO Keith Neumeyer predicted, the level that 57% of retail investors are expecting. The level that would confirm this is still the greatest silver bull market in modern history. On the other side sits $74, the algorithmic target, the danger zone, the level that would shake every silver investor to the core and raise serious questions about whether the January crash broke something that cannot be repaired. The Federal Reserve's March 18th meeting is not just another Fed meeting. It is the moment that resolves the most important question in the silver market right now. And by Friday evening, every silver investor in the world will have a very clear answer about which direction this market is heading for the rest of 2026. Today, I'm giving you the full picture, what the Fed will decide, what each scenario means for silver, and what 3 specific numbers you need to watch on Tuesday afternoon to know immediately which side wins. Let us start with the setup. Silver is currently sitting at $84. Gold is at $5,171. The gold to silver ratio is 61 to 1. And silver has been locked in a range between $80 and $86 for 2 full weeks. This is not normal market behavior. This is a compressed spring. Energy is building. And the Fed meeting on Tuesday is the trigger that releases it. Here is what every analyst agrees on. The Fed will hold rates steady at 3.5 to 3.75% on Tuesday. That part is certain. No cut, no hike, just a hold. That is already priced in. The market knows it is coming. And that means the rate decision itself will not move silver. What will move silver is everything that comes after the decision. At 2 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, the FOMC releases its statement and its dot plot. The dot plot is the summary of economic projections that shows where each Fed member expects interest rates to go for the rest of the year. And the March dot plot is the first one since silver crashed 31% in a single day. The first one since gold broke $5,000. The first one since the Iran war began reshaping global commodity markets. This dot plot has the power to completely reset the silver market's direction for the next 3 months. Here is what the bulls need to see. In December 2025, the median dot plot projection called for one rate cut of 25 basis points in 2026. That single projection was one of the primary reasons silver has been struggling to hold above $86. If Tuesday's dot plot shifts to 2 cuts, or if even 2 or 3 more Fed members pencil in a cut that was not there in December, silver gets its fuel. Lowering interest rates increases the attractiveness of non-interest-bearing assets like silver. A dovish shift in the dot plot weakens the dollar, lowers treasury yields, and sends institutional money flowing into precious metals immediately. And there is real reason to believe the dot plot could shift dovishly. Since December, the economic picture has changed. Consumer spending is cooling. The housing market is stalling. Corporate earnings forecasts are being revised lower. Unemployment has moved above 4.6% with revised data showing job losses. The market is now pricing in at least 2 rate cuts for 2026, while the Fed's own projection calls for just 1. That gap between market expectations and Fed projections is exactly the kind of tension that gets resolved in dot plots. If the dot plot shows 2 or more cuts, silver breaks $86 within the first hour, then $89, then the critical resistance at $94. A clean break above $94 would be the most powerful technical signal in the silver market since January. FX Leader's analysis confirms that $100 per ounce is a realistic target once silver establishes itself above $94 with conviction. And as First Majestic Silver CEO Keith Neumeyer said when silver was already above $100 earlier this year, this is still the early stages of a new bull market, and there is no going back to the old pricing paradigm. Now here is what the bears need to see. CBS News published analysis warning that if the Federal Reserve conducts any rate hikes in 2026, silver prices will likely drop significantly. Experts say a higher rate environment causes yields to rise on other investment vehicles, reducing demand for silver. And the bear scenario does not even require a rate hike. All it requires is a dot plot that shows no change. Zero movement toward cuts. A Fed that looks at Iran-driven energy inflation, looks at tariff pressures, looks at still elevated core CPI, and decides the December projection of 1 cut was already too generous. In that scenario, the dollar stays firm. Treasury yields stay elevated. The opportunity cost of holding silver remains high. And silver breaks below the $82 support that has been holding this consolidation together. Below $82 is $80. Below $80 is $74. And the Coin Codex algorithm that has been predicting $74.20 by March 21st starts looking less like a warning and more like a prediction about to come true. Now, let us talk about the press conference, because the press conference at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday may matter even more than the dot plot itself. Fed Chair: Kevin Warsh will take questions from financial journalists for approximately 45 minutes, and every word he chooses will be dissected in real time by thousands of trading algorithms and millions of investors simultaneously. There are two sentences that will move silver immediately. If Warsh says anything close to this, that the committee sees progress on inflation and remains attentive to signs of economic softening, silver spikes. That language signals cuts are coming. That language means the Fed is watching growth data as carefully as inflation data. And when the Fed watches growth data, it eventually cuts. If Warsh says something closer to this, that the committee remains committed to returning inflation to 2% and is prepared to maintain restrictive policy for as long as necessary, silver drops. That language shuts the door on near-term cuts. It tells the market that the Fed is not done being hawkish, and it gives the dollar bulls exactly what they need to push the dollar index above 100 for the first time since 2022. Here are the three specific numbers you must watch on Tuesday afternoon. Number 1, the dot plot count at 2 p.m. How many FOMC members are projecting 2 or more cuts versus 1 cut versus 0 cuts? Any increase in the number projecting 2 or more cuts compared to December is immediately bullish for silver. Number 2, silver's price at 2:05 p.m. Eastern. The first 5 minutes after a Fed announcement capture the market's true initial rid. If silver is up more than $1 in the first 5 minutes, the statement is being read as dovish. If silver is down more than $1, the statement is being read as hawkish. This initial reaction is almost always the correct one. Number 3, the dollar index at 2:30 p.m. when the press conference begins. If the DXY is below 98.50, the dollar is weakening and silver has room to run. If the DXY is above 99.50 and climbing, the dollar is winning and silver is under pressure. Here's the bottom line. Silver does not need a miracle to reach $100 this week. As EBC Financial Group confirmed, silver already broke $93 earlier this year and showed it can cover double-digit percentage moves in days when momentum and headlines align. The path from $84 to $100 is only a 19% move. In a market where silver moved 31% in a single day, 19% in a week is not extraordinary. It is just the Fed doing what the market needs it to do. But silver also does not need a disaster to reach $74 this week. It just needs a Fed that refuses to budge, a dot plot that stays frozen, a Warsh press conference that prioritizes inflation over growth, and a dollar that says, "I told you so," as it breaks above 100. 2 numbers, 1 decision, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Subscribe right now and turn on notifications, because when that announcement drops, the move in silver will be fast, violent, and over before most people even open the app. You need to be ready before Tuesday, not during it. Drop your prediction in the comments right now, $100 silver by Friday, or $74 silver by Friday. I read every single one, and I will be back on Wednesday with the live breakdown the moment the Fed speaks.